Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Gidlow Movie Show. I am Daniel Gidlow, joined with my brother
Thomas Gidlow.
Yeah. That's we're
Yeah.
the 2 plus 2 equals Gidlow. That doesn't make sense.
Good one.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so today we have, it's going to be kind of a downer podcast a little bit. I mean, we're going to be focusing a lot on the passing of Philip Seymour Hoffman for reasons because Tom and I both, we're big fans of his. And then we'll move on to the topic that we ended up missing last week because we record these on Wednesdays. We missed the whole Jesse Eisenberg Superman versus Batman casting, so those will be probably the two big topics that we focus on, and maybe there's some other news that I might be able to scrounge up for us to comment on or whatever. But no review this week. We're just going to keep it to Philip Seymour Hoffman and the Batman stuff, and we'll see what else arises. I'm sure we'll have some random tangents and stuff like that. So, yeah.
What's a Gidlow movie show without random tangents?
That is a 5-minute long podcast.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, here's the news, and goodbye.
Goodbye. Tom
We're
doesn't
done.
have a rant, and Dan doesn't have a rant or anything.
Yeah.
Although I don't necessarily have rants on this show. Mainly you.
Yeah, you're due for a rant here or there.
Yeah, I probably could get worked up about some stuff. But, okay, so obviously it was, what day was it? It was February 2nd. So it was, for us, just 3 days ago, Sunday, February 2nd, Philip Seymour Hoffman was found apparently overdosed. I don't know if that's if there have been further confirmations of that, but
Well, I just literally 5 seconds ago read that there was an article that the autopsy was inconclusive.
okay.
As to the cause of death, they're going to have to do more tests.
But supposedly he was found with a needle in his arm.
Yes.
So and wasn't it suspected to be heroin?
I believe so, yes.
So a suspected, not confirmed heroin overdose, and he was only 46 years old, and obviously a really great actor. But we'll start talking about his career and stuff and why we love him so much, as an actor. But what were your thoughts when you saw that it was an overdose?
Well, oddly enough, and it's in no way really related or anything like that, but for some reason, just to be honest, the first thought that came in my head for some reason was Tony Scott. And I don't know why. Because, it was a completely different situation, but for some reason that was the first thought that came into my head.
Yeah, well, Tony Scott
no.
Tony Scott was just as surprising to me because
maybe that's what it was, the surprise factor.
Yeah, because Paul Walker,
that was shocking.
It was shocking. It was a car accident, but it was a car accident. I mean, car accidents happen,
Right.
and it's really unfortunate when we lose celebrities that way, or stars, or people who
Anybody.
Anybody. Sam Kinison comes to mind. I have only recently become a pretty big fan of Sam Kinison and his stand-up and stuff like that. I mean, he was a little over the top sometimes, but further looking into his death, he had died in a car accident and random stuff like that. Whenever that happens, it's shocking. But when situations like the Tony Scott thing, I had found out right when I got back from Germany last year, and I found out he committed suicide. It was the most random, there was no explanation to it, and there still is no explanation as to why he committed suicide. And it's
Well, no, it wasn't. He had cancer, didn't he?
no, that was the initial story that people were putting out, but it wasn't true.
Okay.
So that's why I was talking about Philip Seymour Hoffman. I mean, this could be going up after something came out that it wasn't a heroin overdose or something like that. It could be. That's why I'm saying it's very tentative. This is all we've read at this point.
Well,
but
right, it's they
released
no way comparable to this at all. But it was in the initial aftermath of Chris Benoit, everybody was celebrating his life and everything because they didn't know. In the initial stages, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
really. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, it's when you find out. When I found out, you were the one who texted me telling me Philip Seymour Hoffman died, and I was just like, "What?" Because I had woke up Sunday morning and saw that text, and I looked it up immediately, and I was legitly very shocked and I didn't know what to do. I was just I just looked it up, but then I read the article, and it's it's almost like I was disappointed that's like
Yeah.
that he died via overdose. Like, I had no idea he was a drug user to begin with, and I'm sure plenty of different actors are generally, but it's shocking when you find that out when you have absolutely no idea and there's no sign that is something they're doing. And
Right. Well, the thing was, like, apparently this is something he had kicked like a long time ago, like for 20 some odd years. I think he had problems in his in his young adult days, and apparently had kicked it. And that's kind of the thing. Like, I understand there's addiction is definitely a disease. There's we've advanced to the point now where we can quantify certain types of addictions are basically diseases, and it's not something that you ever really you don't really get cured of it. It's something that a lot of people will tell you is that it's just a day by day dealing with it, and supposedly he was able to deal with it for 20 some odd years, and whatever something happened, and I don't know if it was an event or if it was just a random occurrence, and he lost a battle one day and just decided to start doing it again.
yeah.
And that's the thing, like, when you get older, you can't do the things that you did in your youth, and it's like, heck, we all sort of, find out about those kind of things as we grow up and stuff. But I don't know, I'm really, and I don't know how deep I want to go into this, but like, I guess I want to go kind of deep because I'm very two opinions. Like, I have two opinions, and that's really all they are, is opinions. But I'm very too like dual-minded on this. On the one hand, obviously, it's horribly tragic. It's sad. Whenever anyone, whether they're an actor or somebody else, dies way before they should, it's sad. And 46 years old is still really young.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was at the height of his prime, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and that's like the thing. I mean, he's been an actor for so long, and he's been in so many things. But I mean, I don't even know that I could tell you that he'd hit his prime yet. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you never know.
Well, I think he hit a lot more mainstream popularity in like 2005-ish with Capote and Mission Impossible. Like, he became a lot more of a household name and a more noticeable actor.
Oddly enough, that might have had something to do with this because I read an article where he kind of enjoyed his anonymity. Even though he had been in so many things, like in the 90s and stuff, he'd been in a lot of films. But he kind of relished being a character actor, not being the big, huge star, kind of thing. And I'm just going off of what little I've read, and I mean, I would assume that this is the case pretty much for any actor. I don't think the majority of actors seek to be scrutinized on a daily basis by media or by whoever else, and you can achieve a level of success without having that glaring spotlight pointed at you all the time.
Yeah,
but so yeah, I mean, it's sad, obviously, and he was an amazing talent. I think he I think it goes without saying that that he is quite a talented actor. And it was odd because I did the video a couple of days ago, and the first movie, and I don't know why, but the first movie that came to mind to me of what I recognized as what I think is his most, I don't know if it's his best performance, but I would imagine that to me, it just seemed he was the most natural, and it was the Mission Impossible 3 when he was the foil to Tom Cruise. So I mean, he was a really, really obviously good actor. The last movie I saw him in was The Hunger Games, oddly enough.
I thought about that because I haven't seen any of the Hunger Games movies, and I knew he was in The Hunger Games, and I knew you had seen that in the theaters, so that's probably the last thing you saw him in, correct?
Oh yeah, and that was, to me, it was surprising because I'd only seen part of the first one, and I wasn't really eager to see the second one. But it's hard to ignore when you have such a good cast, and they actually are given material to make to further plots and develop their own characters. Yeah. And I was surprised how good the movie was. Yeah. It was really good, and he really added something to it because it was like that role in Mission Impossible 3. He's like, it was weird because I remember commenting to myself, "Hey, look, it's Philip Seymour Hoffman." and it's like everybody else is a character, and he's just him. Like, everybody else is all dressed up or wearing wigs or wearing different outfits, and he's just him wearing a suit. Yeah. It just looks like him. I mean, it just feels like Philip Seymour Hoffman's and just playing himself or something.
Yeah.
And obviously he's had other roles where he's definitely delved into different types of characters and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's obviously naturally talented and very, very good.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect to it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I think he, to you and me, is like one of the best supporting actors. Like, generally, if he's in a movie and in a strong supporting role, he is like holding up the movie in a lot of ways, because I can think of a few times where you and I have seen a movie, whether it be Mission Impossible 3 or Doubt, or because you and I watched that together. Mm-hmm. And then something like Charlie Wilson's War, where it's just like you watch the movie and we both walk away from it thinking just like, yeah, Tom Hanks is good and everything, but Philip Seymour Hoffman was amazing. Like, I remember particularly with Charlie Wilson's War, because I saw that in the theaters and I like loved him in it. But he just, like any movie he was a part of, he really added a really great dynamic to it, because he generally played really kind of hard off, stubborn characters a lot of the time, but they're like really real characters, like in Moneyball where he plays the coach, and he plays them so real. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about Moneyball, actually. That was the thing. Like,
that's something. He blends in. Like, he blends into all the movies where it's just like he plays it so perfectly.
I remember, because it's a sports movie, and I'm generally familiar with most major sports.
Also, statistics.
What's that?
Statistics. That's your big
right.
thing.
Well, that's the thing. This was my dream movie, really. When I first saw this, I was just like a kid in a candy store. Yeah. But I remember thinking he didn't look anything like the manager, but it didn't matter. Yeah. Because obviously he was a short, kind of stocky guy, and he didn't really remind me of that manager of the A's at the time. But again, it didn't really matter. He played it. You wanted to despise the guy almost immediately. Mm-hmm. Like he was a dick, and didn't want to cooperate at all with the GM or anything like that. He was only really concerned about, his contract and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about really good actors, is that you don't even realize that you're like hating on them because of how well they're manipulating you to feel that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the best actors are the actors who can make you really hate their character and not like them. And when they pop up in a different movie, they're like, oh, it's that guy. I hate him.
Right. The best ones is when people walk up on the street and want to kill him, and want to beat him up.
You were so mean.
Like, yeah. It's like, I actually feel for some people, like, in that regard, that, have had to play despicable characters, and then, some idiot walks up on the street and thinks it's real, and, oh, I can't believe you did that to this guy, and oh, you're terrible. And I said, dude, I'm an actor. I'm just a regular person playing a role. Yeah. But yeah, so it's, and that was the other thing that I had did. That's not really proper grammar. That I read about him was that, he took his kids to school. They went to public school, I think, or something like that. And he enjoyed walking them to school, and people would, and it was weird because he had won an award. I can't remember when or what it was for, but he had won an award. It was a pretty big deal. I think it might have been an Academy Award for something. And, the next day he was walking his kids to school, and people just saw him as the guy that was walking his kids to school, like a random day. But people were high-fiving him as he'd walk by because he'd won this big award.
Yeah, he won Best Actor in a lead role.
Yeah, okay. So it was that kind of thing. Like, he was just he seemed just he could deal with it at that time. But I think after that, it's like once you reach the sort of the other stratosphere, once you get beyond even being a household name and get into that upper echelon, it's a whole different ball game. Yeah. And like one of the thoughts that was running through my head before we did this podcast was like, look, I know acting it's not laying brick, and it's not it's not being a maintenance guy, or it's not tough in that aspect of it, but people have different kind of stresses. There's different kind of stresses in everything that you do, and while acting may not be seemingly from the outside as difficult a profession or as difficult to deal with. There are pressures that these people deal with that no one can understand, that people from the outside really can't understand, because it's a different sort of thing, especially the good ones, the good actors, because they have to go to places that we don't even know about, that we can't fathom, to be able to portray some of these characters. It's like another thought, like the thought, obviously, that you go to when you think of, actors preparing for roles as Heath Ledger, because of just how amazing that performance was. And you hear after how, ridiculously in depth he went into preparing for the role.
Yeah.
And the rigors that go into, that sort of thing. Like, people take it really, really seriously because they want to portray an accurate, representation of the character. Yeah,
they want to get into the character's mind mentally before. Like, I remember reading a story about how Heath Ledger locked himself into a hotel room and got to a point where he could laugh about AIDS, about the idea of AIDS. That's how he had to mentally prepare to be the Joker, because that's the way the Joker is. Joker finds the world itself, even knowing it's horrible and everything, funny. That's how he deals with stuff. So, yeah, when actors really have to delve into multiple roles, sometimes they don't have the time to decompress before jumping into something else, and they kind of lose themselves in their roles sometimes. Where that's why a lot of actors turn to substances and stuff like that. It's because some actors can't identify with who they are anymore sometimes, and it really kind of takes over.
Well, and it can become like a coping mechanism, to deal with the rigors. It's like wrestling, when people putting their bodies on the line all the time. You can't really begrudge them for taking an extra painkiller when they're putting their when they're 3 or 4 days a week, they're beating the crap out of themselves.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things where, again, it's a different type of stress that people really, I don't think, quite understand the kind of stresses that I'm not talking about just your everyday actor. I'm talking about the people that you see in these major films that have hundreds of millions of dollars riding on them, and though they are paid very well, let's not forget about that. They are compensated very, very well. Again, money isn't going to money in and of itself doesn't deal with those issues. So are you having an attack at your?
No, I don't know. Somebody slammed. There was a door slam going on. I don't
know. I've actually quite been intrigued that I have yet to be interrupted with a knock on the door, or at any point since we've started this back up.
Yeah. Lucky.
Yeah. It's almost as though I have a sign on my door.
Yeah, I have a gigantic red recording in progress sign on my window.
Yes, we're high tech.
Yes.
You are. I am not.
But yeah. No, I understand. What you were talking about before, about how, right after he won the award for Capote for Best Actor, people high-fiving him, that was the moment in his career that really he launched. The first movie he did after that was Mission Impossible. That was when he really became Philip Seymour Hoffman, the actor, to a lot of people. I mean, you and I had probably seen him in 10 things before he even became a household name. He was in Twister. Right. Do you remember he was Dusty?
Oh yeah, he was the chopper. He was the crazy looking tornado dude.
Yeah, he had some of the most horrid lines in that movie.
Yeah,
but he
was. You go back and watch that. It's pretty.
So he was in Twister. He was in Patch Adams, and I hadn't seen it at the time, but Magnolia. He was a big staple. I don't know how many movies of Paul Thomas Anderson you've seen. Do you know who Paul Thomas Anderson is?
Yeah, again, well, not again, because we haven't really discussed this publicly, but I don't really recall movies as much as you do by who directs them.
Yeah, I'm a big director guy.
Yes.
But Paul Thomas Anderson's one of my favorite directors, and like Christopher Nolan with Michael Caine or something like that, he's Paul Thomas Anderson is somebody who has used Philip Seymour Hoffman in pretty much all of his major films.
Right.
And his last film, The Master, was the one with Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman that kind of had a loose tie to the Church of Scientology creation sort of thing, where Philip Seymour Hoffman played the leader of this pseudo-religion, and he brings in Joaquin Phoenix and tries to teach him of their ways and stuff like that. And it's a movie that doesn't have a whole lot of plot. It's literally driven by the performances. And it is an amazing, like, if you've never seen a performance by Philip Seymour Hoffman, it's one you definitely have to check out. It's a beautifully shot movie, and it's just a really great performance. It's just amazing to watch the performances. I'm pretty sure I messaged you.
You're talking about Magnolia, right?
No, I'm talking about The Master.
Oh.
Magnolia is also a good movie with plenty of great performances, but that has more of a plot to it. But those are more so individual plots that intersect at the end. But The Master is just a movie, pure performance. But I'm pretty sure I messaged you actually after I watched it on Blu-ray and said you needed to check it out. But I don't know if you ever did. Probably didn't. But
I have not.
But it's an amazing movie, and another kind of like it's another movie where you have to say like Philip Seymour Hoffman. You have to watch it because he is so great in it. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. You have you had a lot more to say more so from like the actor like side of it. It's just I just think he's a guy who had many great performances that sometimes you forget about, like unless you like scroll through his filmography. I don't know.
It's like it kind of reminds you, even if it's like in the recesses of your mind or something like that, you know of it, but then you go back and look and like, oh yeah, he really was in that many movies that I had seen. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, okay, so I suppose that's the one side of the equation, at least for me. Mm-hmm. There's another side that I was many thoughts and going on the porch and thinking and just be like, how's the best way to present this side of this secondary opinion that I have? Uh-huh. And again, it's an opinion, so that's all it is. But again, I'm like I've said in my video, I'm two minds of this. And having again taken a few days to kind of I've been busy, so I haven't really been thinking about it too much. But to kind of stew on it a little bit. It's that initially there was a part of me when I heard about it, and then I started reading what had happened or what had supposedly happened, that, like you said, was a little bit disappointed. And it is disappointing because, as much as addiction is seems to be a disease and is a disease, excuse me, there is an element to the choice, and that nobody. Now again, it could be revealed later that actually somebody did come and I don't know that anybody could have forcibly injected him or anything, but again, there's just so little that we actually know for a fact about this. But nobody. He did it himself. He was in his bathroom apparently, or some room by himself. Mm-hmm. And though, and it's just, it's hard to spit it out, so to speak, but there are, there's an elective measure to this, and it's sad in a less than good way, because it's like, I just don't understand why people do some of these things. They go to these extremes. And it's like, with Tony Scott, and, I've never been able to understand the concept of suicide, and to the extent of actually getting into a frame of mind where you just don't care whether you live or die. Yeah. And, again, I understand that he's had problems in the past, and, I mean, everybody's had problems. Everybody's dealt with problems. It's how you deal with it. It would just never factor into my mind at all, in my mind, that, okay, well, now it's time to turn to drugs. So, and that was like my initial tweet on the subject and all that kind of stuff, or a Facebook post or something, was like, don't do drugs, kids. Kids, lesson learned. There's a lesson to be learned here. Don't start. Just don't get involved in it at all, and you won't have to deal with it. Which is, I guess, a little simplistic, but, at the same time, it's true. If you don't start it, then you can't get, heavily deep involved in it.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like, like you said, I'm of two minds. Where it's like, Well, I mean, like I had said, I'm just disappointed. Like it's one of those things. I'm not gonna, think he's a horrible human being because he did drugs, but it's, it was just surprising, and I didn't expect it. And whenever I find out stuff like that about certain celebrities that I follow, I remember Eric Roberts was on one of those celebrity rehab shows, and I was just like, Eric Roberts isn't the most amazing actor, but I like him. And same thing with Tom Sizemore. He was on that same show. Tom Sizemore popped in at one point, and he's not so surprising that he was on drugs. But again, he's had some excellent roles. So it's like, I really, I don't lose 100% respect for the person, but it definitely dings him down a couple notches in my mind, because it's just like, but then again, I can't fault people for the lives they've led and for the experiences that they have experienced, because I haven't experienced that. I don't know what they're going through. I don't know, like you had said, it's a coping mechanism. So it's hard for me to really find fault in that. I mean, I understand it's not a good message to send to people, like kids, don't do drugs. But when it comes to, somebody like a celebrity ODing or something like that, it's disappointing, but it's hard for me to really kind of pass judgment on that specific fact. I don't know.
Right. Well, personal choice.
Oh, exactly.
And that's the thing. Like, for me, I don't care what you do. I mean, that's like, I won't think less of him. But I think if anything, it would just temper. It would affect the sympathy that I would have. It wouldn't be a sense of, well, now he's a terrible person and how dare he do. He didn't harm anybody but himself, from what I can tell here. I mean, I don't really know the whole story again, but it seems like, hey, he didn't go, to a shopping mall and say, I hate everybody, and start killing, shooting people up and then kill himself. He was in his apartment, and decided to do, he has that choice to do that. So it's just, it's a really difficult subject.
Yeah.
It really is. But that's what I mean. Like, I guess it won't affect what I think of him as a person. It would affect just the level of sympathy that I had. Now, if it's like with Paul Walker. Paul Walker died in a car accident. It's ridiculously tragic. He wasn't even driving it. Like, there's not a lot of fault that you could put on him. I mean, even playing the most devil's advocate, you might be able to say, well, you shouldn't have gotten a car with somebody racing it or something. Well, okay, but even at that, he wasn't driving. He was just in the car, and it was a horrible accident.
Yeah.
So I mean, so the sympathy level I would have for a person like that dies like that is a little bit higher.
Well, okay, so this reminds me of a situation which I have passed judgment on that did affect the way I look at this person. I was a big fan, and I still am, of Jackass. I like the Jackass movies. I like the Jackass show. It's really lowbrow, bottom of the barrel entertainment, but it entertains me, like on a I guess emotional level. Like it makes me laugh. I like a lot of the Jackass crew. One of the crew was part of the crew was Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn a couple years ago ended up dying in a car accident similar to the Paul Walker thing, except for he was under the influence of alcohol, and he was reportedly going outrageous speeds. And sure, it's one of those situations, he died because of that, but he also had a passenger with him who also died because the car ended up careening off the road and exploding pretty much, and they burned to death, either that or died in the accident. So it's one of those things where it's like, not only was he driving under the influence, which is the stupidest thing to do, he also took someone else's life because of the mistake he was making, on his own part. So that something like that leaves kind of a sour note to when I think of Ryan Dunn. And it's not the same thing as the Philip Seymour Hoffman thing, but at least in that situation, he isn't hurting anybody else but himself. So I don't know if that's
right.
You see what I'm saying?
No, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know Ryan Dunn. I don't know much about Jackass. The little I've seen, I don't particularly enjoy. I mean, there's always humor to find in everything.
Yeah.
So, obviously some of it that I've seen is funny, but I've never... It's like the same thing with, like, Movie 43 last week with the fart jokes. I've never understood how that's funny.
Yeah.
And personal pain. You kind of, it's like, when you see a hit in a football game, you're like, oh, and then you kind of giggle or something a little bit. But, these guys are intentionally just, some of the stuff they do is just absolutely ridiculous. But, I mean, hey, it's the same thing as, last week. If there's an audience for it, more power to them.
Yeah.
But, I don't know anything about the guy. But that's the thing. That's where I draw a line, too. Like, I couldn't even compare the two, because it's like, when you decide, okay, you have, on the one hand, okay, I'm going to sit here in my room, and I'm going to shoot up, ecstasy or whatever. As long as
I don't know if you shoot up ecstasy, but yes.
Well, again, here's my extent of knowledge of drugs.
I'm going to...
when I'm hitting the crack rock and I'm smoking the cocaine...
I'm going to snort up the marijuana.
Yeah. You can tell that we're heavily into drugs, because we know all.
Hey, we watch Law and Order. You should.
I got
a
passing
thing
knowledge
or two
from Lenny Briscoe. That's what I know about drugs. If you can't take them down to the precinct, then I don't know what that. Well, that's Dennis Farina.
Yeah,
another person who's gone.
Oh, yeah, that's sad. Why'd you have to bring up Dennis Farina?
Well, because Dennis Farina's the man. I'm sorry, he's still the man, even though he is not with us anymore.
Okay. Well, randomly enough, Dennis Farina was an actor that Tom and I wanted to work with for the longest time, and was the inspiration of me writing one of the characters in our movie. I was literally writing the role for him if he would ever be in it.
Yes.
But
and
anyway,
his cadence and everything.
Anyway, yeah. So, but continue.
But anyway, so we did go off on random tangent. Dennis Farina, rest in peace.
Yes.
But so yeah, where I draw the line with, again, ecstasy, shooting up or whatever. If I'm in my room and I'm not affecting anyone else but me, okay. Then again, there's only a max disdain that I could have for that person, because they're not affecting anyone else. It's their choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more so like I said, it was more so disappointment, like in that situation.
Right. But the person that says, well, I'm going to, shoot myself up with heroin and then, drink a fifth of vodka and get in my car and drive around and joyride, or just, do something like that, there's no way I could have sympathy for that person at all. Because you're effectively saying, I don't care who I kill or who I hurt, and I don't care. And that's the thing. It's like, and I know this is a completely random thing. It's like the reason that I'm not so gung ho still. I mean, I'm more open to it now than I've ever been about the whole marijuana thing and making it legal and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's the same thing as alcohol. Like if you get all doped up and you get in your car and say, well, I got to get some food, and you go to the McDonald's all completely wasted on marijuana. Which I know is, you got to smoke a lot of it to get really torn apart. But
well, you got to drink a lot to get really torn apart, too.
Right. Well, it depends on the alcohol, I guess. But, but when you get behind the wheel and say, well, I'm going to go to the store, I don't have, your argument is lost on me. When you are not of sound mind to operate vehicle, then why do you do it? It's just... Well, I was already... Well, no, it doesn't matter, because now you've just risked every single life that you pass on the road. You've just risked their lives. And unbeknownst to them. They don't know.
I actually drive better when I'm high. I've heard that. I have heard that.
Yeah. Stay your ass at home, play video games, order pizza, and save a life. Yeah. But, yeah, so... That's really it. It's sad and it sucks, and again, way too young.
Yeah.
Too many of these people are just gone way before they should be.
Yeah, and it's just sad that we're never going to see like an amazing Philip Seymour Hoffman performance again. And like he was still shooting the sequel to Hunger Games, Mockingjay, which is being split into 2 parts. But apparently he only had like 7 more shoot days to go, so he had filmed the majority of his stuff. So I guess they'll be able to cut around it or something like that.
I didn't actually read this statement, but I did, and this irritated me a little bit.
What?
The studio had a statement the day he died.
Yeah, Lionsgate put out a statement. That's not a bad thing, is it?
Yeah. It's like... I don't know. I have to read it, but
I can read it to you. Give me a second.
Yeah, please do, because I think they talked about how it would affect the production.
Yeah, but they also mentioned how they send the regards to the family,
Right.
and such. Let's see here.
Well, read it to me before I pass summary judgment.
Yeah,
I did see part of it.
Well, the thing was, it was like once I let me continue to search this because I typed in the name wrong. When I read it, it didn't like turn my.
If it was
stomach
all
or
about
anything.
right, if it was all about we're saddened and it was a list of we respected him and he was a great actor and we're sad and his family and stuff and said regarding the future of the movie we'll announce that in due time.
Yeah.
If that was all they said about the movie itself, then I don't think I'd have a problem with it.
No. Their statement did not include anything about the actual movie. All they said, this was from Lionsgate, quote, Philip Seymour Hoffman was a singular talent and one of the most gifted actors of our generation. We're very fortunate that he graced our Hunger Games family. Losing him in his prime is a tragedy, and we send our deepest condolences to the Phillips family. That's all they said.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know where I saw it, but I could have sworn they had said something about the future of the film, and that's what I almost got set off on that. I was just like, what? Are you kidding me? Are you talking about who cares about the future of the film right now? It's been less than 6 hours since anybody knew about this.
Yeah.
But apparently I was wrong. So
yeah. I mean, I knew I remember reading in an article, like the specific article was mentioning about how sources said that he had finished filming the majority of his stuff. That's where I saw that. So, yeah. But yeah, no, they nothing but good things. It was like with Paul Walker in the Fast and the Furious. I think they handled that.
I thought they
handled that
very
well.
They handled it very well
because they shut down production completely. They gave time before they actually announced any sort of action with what they were going to do with the series. And I liked that they weren't going to kill him off or anything. They were actually going to just retire his character after the movie. And I guess they're going to have to work around the fact that he passed away, but.
Well, I mean, and the thing was too that I kind of liked was that they had to get it wasn't very long after he died that they had to gear up to promote Fast 6.
Oh yeah, but I loved that they did
they did it very tastefully.
The portions of his and even the commercials they weren't like Fast and Furious 6 starring Paul Walker.
Were very subdued.
Yeah, it was like
just very here's the movie, and if you would buy this, we'll donate a portion to his foundation.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very classy.
I thought the same thing when I saw the commercial.
Yes, they did a very good job in that, and not making it just this, ignoring it and going action, blah blah by the movie,
starring the late and great Paul Walker. But
and then show him shooting guns off or something.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever do that in those movies, but yeah, generally it's just Vin Diesel and The Rock fighting it out.
I've got a topic for random diversion. If you
go for it, I think we're done with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, condolences obviously to whoever might be listening to this.
I don't know,
but I don't know. Yeah, but
again, sad thing, and it's absolutely horrible, and it really affected me when I heard about it. So,
yes. Okay, now we can get into. Oh my God, what a stupid opinion you have, Tom. Segment of the show.
Is that the name of the topic? No. The segment? No, oh my God, what a stupid opinion you have.
I don't know where I got, it just popped into my head just now, but I remember a couple of days ago I was like, I saw something and it irritated the hell out of me. And I was like, really? It was just some random movie poster, I think it was. But it was two girls or something. I can't remember what it was. But they were both holding guns. We broached this subject either last week or the week before, barely, about how what were we talking about? The director or the producer, or whatever that said, the guy that said I don't want to use guns or anything.
Oh anymore. The Weinsteins.
Right.
Harvey. It was Harvey Weinstein specifically.
Right. And this isn't about that, but it's a similar sort of topic. I can't. What the hell was that?
What
was that? You? I heard "Dan" in my head, like something.
No, that was not me.
Was starting to play. Oddly enough, maybe the Jeep commercial on ComingSoon.net might have.
Oh, Coming Soon is. I'm sorry, Coming Soon. I love your website and I've been using it for years, but their ads are ridiculous. I
still had it up because there's headlines that I was looking at.
Somebody tweeted at me earlier this morning and asked what movie site I use, and I linked it to him, and I specifically said, the ads are horrible, but it's a good site.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take down your ads. Stop.
Oh, no, don't take down. Yeah, stop making money. But just like they're getting to the pop-ups territory now, and it's annoying.
Ugh. Why sites have to rely on pop-ups still is beyond me. I mean, really, that's like so 1998. Come on, let's go. But anyway, like I don't know why, but it set me off. The left, the Hollywood folks who are continually
okay, wait, hold on. For us stupid people, the left is who?
The Democrats.
Okay.
But it's not really I'm not going to get into the whole political thing about it, but it's just like I am getting more and more disgusted with the film industry as a whole because I can't tell you how many times I keep hearing about, we need gun control, we need gun control, we need gun control. And I don't see any signs of slowing from Hollywood in promoting.
No signs that they are slowing.
It was like after I can't remember what ridiculous event it was, or not ridiculous, but what it was after some mass shooting, and it couldn't have been like 2 weeks later. I saw a trailer for a movie called Guns. Yeah, and I was just like, really, like that movie's really going to be a success right now.
Yeah.
I am of the opinion, hey, you want to make whatever you want to make. No problem. I'm an adult. I can determine for myself whether or not, that movie's going to go make me want to shoot people. So personal responsibility, I'm all about that. But you can't rail against, guns are terrible. Nobody should own guns. Let's pick up all the guns. And then turn around and say, action, and here's 50 people shooting the hell out of each other. Yeah, get more bullets and more blanks, and I want to see more gunshot. I want to see more bullets coming out of that gun as the gun is firing.
Yeah,
I want to see more casings out of that gun.
I want to see a larger barrel flash.
Yeah,
can we throw some gasoline in that thing?
Flame throwing, please.
I want the actor to catch fire the second they fire that gun.
More automatic. I want to fire 100,000 bullets a second.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tired of it, and I'm tired of ridiculous hypocrisy in this ridiculous business.
Well, you'll find hypocrisy in any business. It's not just the film industry. Yeah, but it's
to the level of just absolute. I can't. I don't know. It almost like I want to make movies and I want to do my thing, but when I see stuff like that, it's just like it dispels my desire to want to do stuff because it's just like that's the norm and that's that's the standard and that's the business, and people will be like, oh well, that's just them, well, it sucks, I think.
Yeah.
And that's my
opinion. I mean, hypocrisy in general, and that's my opinion that nobody wants to hear, or whatever you said before. No, I mean, hypocrisy in general is annoying. Like when we were talking about it with the Harvey Weinstein pulling the thing, where he made this bold statement, I'm not going to make any more movies with guns in it. And then, he has made
the next 5.
Yeah, well, not even that, like we had said. And yet you made your career off of violent movies that are full of gunfire and violence because of the guns and stuff like that. And, the bolder statement would be to take that out of your catalog or, stop selling that movie or, whatever. That would be the boldest statement you could make, is like, I'm completely detaching myself from this violence that I find so appalling.
Or before even all of that, you can realize, hey, I've made my career off of this. Maybe my voice isn't the best one to be, isn't the best voice to put out there in this debate, and I'll just kind of keep to myself.
Yeah.
Maybe
just silently do it.
Yeah, or I'm not saying he can't have an opinion, and he can't change his view on stuff.
Yeah,
but don't go out there and lecture, how we need to do this and that
exactly.
After 30 years of making,
it'd be better to do more so than to say. Stop making movies with the violence and don't say anything about it. Just be like, what? Personally, to myself, I don't want to do this anymore. The end.
And this is a business, by the way, that if there's even the hint of a weapon being used in a film, it's in the poster. Like, I can't remember what the name of the film was, but it was some film that was like about, it was a coming of age story about somebody, and it had nothing to do with guns at all. And the guy's holding a gun on the movie poster, and I wish I could remember what the film was, but I'm like, really? Why? If there is a semblance of a weapon in it, it's on the poster. It's in the trailer.
You know what is perfect for that?
What's that?
Is a movie we reviewed when we returned, Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit. He holds a gun like twice in the movie. He uses one and doesn't kill anybody with it, but the majority of the movie he does not have a gun. And it's actually the movie makes a point of having other people have the guns and they're the ones shooting, not Jack. And yet in every single promotional poster for that movie he is holding a gun.
Yeah, why does he have to hold a gun? That's what I'm saying. Like, he has to do it in the poster because that's what sells.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about it. Is kind of ridiculous. Like, it's just like, because I never really thought about it in the Jack Ryan thing, but I looked it up, and both posters I'm looking at right now have him holding a gun. So even if the character doesn't like guns and doesn't like doing that stuff, they try to make him look more like a badass by holding a gun in the poster because it sells better. Like, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But. So stop marketing, all this bullcrap, and then you can speak.
Yeah.
On the subject of wanting to take all the guns away, because, and I'm not going to go off on random tangents because I could go off on political tangents all day long, and nobody wants to hear that. So. Let's move on. I was actually just looking at Coming Soon, and we don't have to talk about this at any random length, but I just saw that Jason Patric is in an action movie. Where the hell's he been at?
Jason Patric, who'd that be?
What?
Oh, okay. Speed 2 cruise control guy? Why the fuck would I know who the hell he is?
Come on, man.
Tom, I haven't seen Jason Patric since Narc. Like...
Oh, I barely remember that. Yeah.
We watched that, and I don't remember. I don't even know if we finished it. You might have watched it before you watched it with me, but I remember you and I watching that, and I maybe fell asleep halfway through it. I can't remember. But yeah, no, Jason Patric. I don't know. Have I ever seen him in a movie outside of Speed 2 Cruise Control?
No, I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything other than that, except for Narc. About 5 seconds.
Yeah, how would you think I would know who Jason Patric is? I recognize.
No, I thought you just know him from Speed 2.
No, yeah, I recognized the name, and then when I looked it up, his stupid face was staring right back at me. So.
No, it's funny too because oddly enough, the image on Coming Soon that you click on to go to the article is him holding a gun, so it's full circle.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Yeah. But I like the top comment on the article.
That's Jason Patric? What the hell? I was staring
he's gotten old.
I was staring at that, because the other day, that was the only article all day. I think it was Saturday. So every single time I went to Coming Soon, which I check Coming Soon repetitively throughout the day, almost compulsively, I did not recognize that as Jason Patric. So you recognized looking at that as Speed 2 guy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't. If you click on the article, Shannon Elizabeth is in that movie.
Well, I was just going to mention, too, that Shannon Elizabeth, to me... Oh, there's the poster. Outgunned, outnumbered, out for blood. This looks really good. James Caan on the poster at the bottom.
James Caan. He's holding... that's a horrible Photoshop
That's
of
terrible.
Him. Look how he has to be doing dainty hand to be holding that machine gun.
He's like, here, look at this gun I have in my hand.
They photoshopped a machine gun into James Caan's hands.
See, that's what I mean. Like, the guy's like, first of all, how believable is James Caan holding a gun at this day and age? He's like 70-something years old.
He fired that, he'd fall over.
Yeah. Well, that's true. No, Shannon Elizabeth. Is there any actress that you can think of that looks more like, no matter what character she's playing, except for maybe American Pie, whenever she's playing a character, you know immediately it's her, and you can't even see the character at all.
She can portray characters. I didn't even know she had that ability.
To what?
To portray characters.
She wasn't bad in American Pie.
Yeah, but she had an accent, and then every other movie she played a Shannon Elizabeth. I mean, I liked her in Scary Movie, but not anything outside of that.
I like the comment that there's only 3 comments on this entire story, and it says Jason Patric and the boys are just jobbing it on this one. Apparently it just looks. I haven't watched the trailer, but apparently it's so bad that.
Well, I don't,
they're just here for the paycheck.
What movie is Jason Patric acting seriously in? Like what? I mean, what has he done in the last?
I don't recall Speed 2 being horrible. I mean, he did passable, I guess. I mean,
no.
The reason the thing replacing Keanu Reeves, whoever was going to be in that role, was going to fail no matter what.
That's the biggest thing. Is like they took the dynamic that really worked in the first one and bastardized it.
It was the same character though, wasn't it? It was just
no. He was a different guy. Oh, she said that the relationship fizzled out.
Right. Yeah.
In the movie,
which is stupid.
Yeah, it was like one line of dialogue. I mean, I like Willem Dafoe in it, but I like Willem Dafoe in pretty much anything. So
I like Willem Dafoe. I don't remember liking him that much in that movie. Oddly enough,
I don't know. I thought he was
way over.
He was blonde, had long hair, and put leeches on himself. That's all I remember, really.
Yeah, I just remember him being over the top.
Yeah.
Another random topic real quick. I saw the extended trailer for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. You
know what? Is that the Super Bowl one?
I guess, but it was like 3.5. It was like 3 minutes and 45 seconds long.
So
I don't think that aired on the Super Bowl.
I saw that at Comic-Con like a year ago. Yeah. I saw that same trailer they just released, although they didn't have the finished special effects in it.
Okay, yeah, no, this was This was like almost 4 minutes long. It was completely finished. It was on YouTube somewhere. It was an ad that I was waiting to watch another movie, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. Mm-hmm. I watched it as the ad playing over the video I was about to watch.
Yeah.
But at first, it was actually I was kind of like, this doesn't look too bad. This isn't like it reminded me a lot of the initial Spider-Man movies, but it kind of lost me along the way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the effects they look really good. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. And James, what's his name?
James Gandolfini. No.
James Gandolfini.
Andrew Garfield.
No.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, yeah. Jamie Foxx was at first sort of an intriguing, and I think I'd heard that he was in it anyway, but sort of an intriguing thing, and, okay. But then it seemed to turn into the second Spider-Man movie, like the one they've already done in parts. And I was like, oh my god, are they just retreading everything that happened in the first three movies in this? Like, I know there's different bad guys, but it's like the dichotomy. They even put in the title cards like, it was the enemy. Enemies must unite to face common foes, like they did in the first two when him and the Green Goblin were fighting whatever the hell Alfred Molina. I mean, are they just completely redoing the entire trilogy?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I mean, there are differences, but there are definitely similarities. They're kind of tying all of the supervillains in through Oscorp in this movie and in these movies, as opposed to having them have separate, kind of origins. But I mean, when it comes to the relationship between Harry and Peter, obviously that's going to be played the same way no matter what iteration you're doing, unless you completely change the kind of dichotomy that's in the comic books. But yeah, I mean, it has elements of retread, but at the same time, the only enemies that I mean, that's the same as Goblin. You have different enemies, but yeah, it's
but I mean, it's the same sub story. It's the same Mary Jane thing. It's the same, I don't know. It seems like I haven't seen the first one.
The Amazing. I thought you had seen The Amazing Spider-Man.
No, I still haven't seen it.
Oh, I remember talking to you about it a little bit, but
I reserve, I suppose, an official judgment until I see the entirety of the first one.
I mean, the first one's nothing to write home about. It is. You would watch it and you'd say, yeah, that's a lot like the first Spider-Man, because it hits the same story points. Right. It's just a different origin. It's like a slightly different origin. And Peter's origin is tied into Oscorp. Like he gets infected at Oscorp as opposed to like a museum or something like that, or science lab or whatever the fuck it is. But I mean, it hits all the same points. It's just, I think, I thought the way they were going with it was they had to retread some of the same stuff in order to since they were doing an origin again, and now they can take that origin and do something different. It seems to me like they're doing something different with the choices of villains, but I mean, I don't know. I'd have to wait to see the movie, but I think
the little that I've seen of James Garfield, of Andrew Garfield, it doesn't look appealing to me. I don't know.
I liked that, like in the first movie, and they had a little bit more than Tobey Maguire. It was the smartass stuff, because Spider-Man is a smartass. Like that's what I always loved about Spider-Man in the comics. Reading the comics or watching the TV show, like he always had a quip, and every once in a while Tobey Maguire had a quip, but they weren't generally funny. And so, like, I liked that. There's a scene in the first Spider-Man where he's stopping a carjacker, and he has a bit of a back and forth with the guy, and it was actually like funny. Like it was actually Spider-Man dialogue that I finally liked. So I like that Andrew Garfield has a little bit of a quip going on with portraying Spider-Man. But I don't know. I don't find it horrible. The first one wasn't anything to write home about. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't amazing Spider-Man. But it was it was more like adequate Spider-Man. So hopefully this one.
The third one will be called The Adequate Spider-Man.
I'm excited for Jamie Foxx as Electro, because I think I haven't seen Jamie Foxx play a character like this before, so hopefully it's good.
Yeah, well, he's played kind of the unwitting bad guy before, but I mean not the full-fledged sort of superhero bad guy.
In what?
What the hell's that movie called with Tom Cruise in the cab?
Oh no, he wasn't the bad guy.
No, but he was the unwitting accomplice. Like he was the
but he was the good guy in that.
Oh, I know that, but he was sort of the uneasy doing the things that he was told to do.
Yeah,
and kind of coming of age, or I suppose. Yeah. Anyway,
that was a good movie, by the way.
Yeah,
I love
lead
Collateral.
us. Yeah, what?
I love Collateral.
That's it. I knew it started with a C. I couldn't think.
Didn't you say Collateral? I thought you said it.
I don't know.
Anyway, good movie.
I can play the tape. I can go back on the tape.
No, it's fine.
I'm a brunette.
It's fine. Anyway, that leads us into our main topic.
Liar.
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 We're gonna.
I was saying. I was talking about. I was doing a line from Liar Liar, and I guess you missed it.
Oh yeah, what were you saying?
Anyhow, let's move on.
Okay. Well, see, the Skype delay was just fucking us over there.
Yes. Oh, that's we have to fix. Daniel has to fix that when he's editing this.
Well, not really. I have to just edit it to the delay that I have. Like I can't fix it. Because
but for now it is slightly annoying.
Yeah, it is so annoying. Like Skype has like a second delay, and so him and I, if we cut each other off, we kind of have to commit, because otherwise it'll be like what just happened, where we'll both be like,
it'll be I go. Yeah.
But I mean we'll go. Yeah, we'll go on to the
like that.
Yeah, we'll
there
go.
You go.
We'll go into the next top.
Take it away.
So our next topic is the Batman versus Superman casting that has the internet in the most uproarious thing ever. Okay, so Thomas, I will explain to you what happened when I found out about this casting.
You killed yourself.
No, well, I did, and then I resurrected myself. But okay, so I was going on comingsoon.net like I always do, and I see that Jesse Eisenberg was cast as Lex Luthor. That is like the title of the article. And I was like, who's Jesse Eisenberg? And I clicked on the article, because in my mind I couldn't place the name immediately. And I clicked on the article, and I saw Jesse Eisenberg, star of The Social Network and Zombieland. You and I saw Zombieland in the theaters. We really loved it. And that Jeremy Irons was playing Alfred. Now, my reaction to Jeremy Irons playing Alfred was brilliant. I love that casting, because I really like Jeremy Irons, and I feel like he doesn't get like enough, roles that I get to see often, because generally he does more lower, independent fare, not low.
Simon Says.
Yes, and obviously he was the bad guy in Die Hard with Vengeance.
Yes.
Simon Gruber. But
A Good Day to Die Hard. Make it go.
Good Day to Die Hard. Wait, no. You just
you got fucked up. I screwed it up.
You fucked up.
Only the Good Die Hard.
Only the Good Die Hard. Make it.
That.
Yes. Every podcast will now reference.
Reference only the Good Die Hard, and maybe eventually somebody will pick up on it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but so I thought it was brilliant casting. Very excited. I was like, yes, that'll be perfect. That'll be very interesting to see him play against Ben Affleck. And then I wasn't sure how to feel about Jesse Eisenberg. Like I was like, he's a lot younger than I thought he would be. But then again, he is the same age as Henry Cavill. They're both 30. So what I did was I got up, because I was in my office. I got up, went over to Jordan's door, and I was like, they just cast Lex Luthor in the Superman movie. Guess who it is? And I was like, you won't guess it in a million years. And he was like, well, is there much point to guess? And I was just like, Jesse Eisenberg. And at this point, I had in my mind a really negative opinion on it, which generally doesn't happen too often. But like my first initial reaction was really negative. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I was trying to give him clues. I was like, it's kid from Social Network, and Jordan hadn't seen Social Network.
Justin Timberlake, yeah.
Hey, Andrew Garfield, he was in Social Network. But yeah, like I was trying to give him clues. I didn't even think about Zombieland at the time. He would have gotten it if I would have told him Zombieland. But I was just like, I don't know what they're doing, and I was very confused. And I kind of, my initial reaction was a lot of people's reactions have been maintained as since the announcement. Like I was just like, that doesn't make sense. But the more I've thought about it, like it makes sense to me because we live in a time that these young internet moguls are kind of appearing, and it's not all of the rich businessmen are exactly old. Like it's kind of a younger social media driven kind of society we live in, with these young up and comers kind of getting big and businessy and blah 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 blah. But so it kind of made sense to me the more I thought about it. But I'm still like, I don't know, I'm not 100% on it because I don't know how menacing he can really be, because Lex Luthor is supposed to be this guy who has a finger in every pie, and like he's this all-encompassing businessman. So I'm wary but optimistic. I don't know. What do you think?
People who know me may think I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
And I know that's shocking to you, but listen. Yes. Okay.
First time ever.
Yeah. That I've disagreed with you?
Yes. No, it's the first time ever.
No, I share some of your things. When my first reaction was, what the fuck? Like that was my reaction.
It was the same thing. Mine was the same thing.
Okay. But that was like the second I saw it. The next thought I had was, well, I'm sure he'll be able to do it. I'm not a big fan of his at all by any stretch of the imagination. But I, for some reason, think they can actually mold him or mold the character without him being Jesse Eisenberg. If he approaches it and plays it like he plays all his other roles, then okay, I will probably hate it. But because I'm not a big fan of his, and I don't think he's very good at all. He's like a lot like Michael Cera, who I also think, and again, I know probably everybody watching this probably thinks I'm crazy, or listening to this because they're not watching it. I'm not a big fan of Michael Cera or that type of humor. I don't think he's funny, and I don't really think he's very good either. But here's the thing. You had mentioned that, about the whole social media aspect of it. And while it's true, like, the original Lex Luger. Yes. Wrestling reference.
Wrestling.
For the win.
Yes.
That Lex Luthor in the original movies, in the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, that Lex Luthor was Gene Hackman, obviously. That was kind of the par for the course then. It was the bad guys were always the older, conniving, scheming, boardroom kind of people. And they were usually played by older people. Mm-hmm. And if they weren't old at the time, they just seemed old, You see a lot more youthful, infiltration of these characters now. And I think that's just a sign of the times, like you said, with the social media stuff. But you got to remember, because I do trust that the semi-universe that these two, that Christopher Nolan and the Zack Snyder and what has been created to date, I'm confident. It's like there were people that didn't really understand Tom Hardy's casting as Bane. And obviously that turned out insanely well. Mm-hmm. And there's
depending on who you ask.
Well, who could I am compelling somebody to comment if they think Bane that Tom Hardy played Bane.
Thomas,
poorly.
Did you look at the internet at all after the movie came out?
I don't look at the internet.
Okay, well, here's the thing. With as much enthusiasm that you and I had for his role and his performance and what he did with it, there was just as much opposition to people saying they couldn't understand him, people saying he sounded like Sean Connery mixed with Darth Vader, and like that's what people said, Sean Connery and Darth Vader, and like he was one of the most parodied, made fun of characters, and a lot of people couldn't take the movie seriously because of Bane. Obviously, I thought he was excellent, but a lot of people were taken out of it by his performance and the choices they made.
They don't understand.
But I'm just stating what has happened.
Like, yes, and they're entitled to their opinion. Yeah. They can think whatever they like to think. No problem. You're nuts. Anyway, because I for one, and this is again just my opinion, I for one think Tom Hardy's portrayal as Bane was as close as you're ever going to get to Heath Ledger's portrayal as the Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker is on a pedestal nobody will reach. But if you were able to try to reach to that, I think Tom Hardy came as close as you can get.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. I think Tom Hardy's a phenomenal actor and did more with Bane, because my initial reaction was Bane, the character that goes Bane and you hit him and he steroids up, or if you hit him in a certain spot he's dead or whatever. That was my initial. I was like, oh great, what the hell are they doing? But again, I trust Nolan's universe. Or it's not the same universe, but it's Nolan's production. I trust Zack Snyder. Or Zack Snyder.
I mean,
or D. Snyder.
Or Zack Ryder, another wrestling reference.
Woo, woo, woo. Nobody knows it because he's gone. Anyway, so, yeah, I trust them enough to, at this point in time, that it will make sense and it will fit. Because and this is a departure for me, because I remember in 2006 when the Superman thing came out, it was Kevin Spacey. I was like, oh, is he going to be bald? He has to be bald. Because, the one thing that I knew that I actually preferred over the older movie at the time was the cartoon series, and Lex Luthor was bald. Yeah. So I was like, he has to be bald. Of course he was bald, which was nice. But I've come some way since then.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it at first. I like I said, I don't like Jesse Eisenberg that much. I don't dislike him. I just don't really care for his work and what I've seen him in. Although I like Zombieland. He was good in that type of role. That was fine.
Yeah.
But, we'll see.
We shall see. Age-old thing. What are your thoughts on Jeremy Irons as Alfred?
I loved that. I thought that was great. Now, I was when I heard that the Batman reboot was coming in 2002, I was like, well, they've got to get the guy that played Alfred in the first movies. He has to be a carryover because he's that good.
Well, he was a carryover to the mild semi-reboot that happened within, he was the, along with Commissioner Gordon, he was the consistent carryover from the
I figured he could be like the M character, like in the Bond movies, like Judi Dench, who has been in several different portrayals that really, if you think about it, shouldn't make any sense at all. But she's always been Q.
Yeah.
And now she's not anymore. But, so, yeah, for sure. But I've just completely... My brain just went blank. What were we talking about? We were talking about
Carryover. Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons.
So were you thinking Michael Caine should have carried over?
I was going off on too many tangents. And I lost track of where we were going.
Were you thinking that Michael Caine should have carried over?
No. Well, I mean, I knew Michael Caine wasn't going to carry over.
Yeah.
But I was of the opinion when that first came out that I was like, oh, well, nobody can really do it justice. And then Michael Caine blew me away.
Oh,
and obviously, Michael Caine's going to blow you away because he's a freaking awesome actor. So
he's an awesome character portrayed by Niles Mackenzie.
Yes.
Playing the actor.
My cocaine.
Yeah.
That's how he's referred to as in Honest Trailers.
Oh, I gotcha.
My cocaine. So, yeah. But it's based more on the fact that Michael Caine did such a great job as Alfred that it'll be different. And different isn't always great. It takes a while to get used to it at first, but I'm sure within the first one or two scenes, Jeremy Irons is an awesome actor too, so I very much like that. I'm very, very pleased to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's not just your name, sir. It's your father's name, and it's all that's left of him.
Well, they'll never do Batman as good as Nolan did. I mean, Batman will definitely be good, I'm sure, in this coming movie and future movies. I'm sure will be fine.
Yeah,
but they will never peak, at least in my opinion, as they did with Nolan's movies. Nolan's movies were so far and away up there.
Like it's one thing to hold that kind of opinion, but at the same time, I'm of the opinion, and I'm sure you would be too after you hear it. Like Nolan is the peak, but I'd love for them to top it. Like I'd love to see a movie that tops that. Like
I'd love to see it topped, and I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
But how could you get much better than that? I mean, those are the types of movies you could watch. I don't think you could watch over and over, 20 million times in a row and have the same opinion of it. But it's one of those movies you could probably watch once a month. You could watch the trilogy once a month and have the same level of amazement and respect for it.
Yeah.
As if you watched it once and that was it.
Yeah, I've probably seen The Dark Knight Rises probably about 10 times now at least. Like that's a movie I could sit down anytime and watch. I just love that movie.
Kind of a random thought along the lines of superheroes. Do you think... Oh, my God.
Is that a cat? What is that?
No, that's a person.
I heard it was...
So, I don't know. There must be some sort of party going on in my apartment. I want to ask you this. Do you think that there is a portion of actors in the business that get a little bit upset that they will never have the chance of playing these superhero characters? And what I'm talking about is, do you think that an African-American actor might get a bit upset in that they will never have the chance to play a Superman, or seemingly never have the chance to play Batman, Spider-Man, any of these superheroes?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of
what do you think
there's plenty of African American superheroes that are
for sure,
like out there that are just as important as characters like that. I've obviously not necessarily held like to the same, like that aren't as I don't know. Like obviously there are characters that are just as like strong and stuff like that, but like not as notable. Like something like in the Captain America movie coming out, they have Falcon, who's played by I always forget this guy's name. Thomas, please help. I think it's Anthony Mackie. I believe his name is Anthony Mackie.
I don't know. I saw the trailer.
Hold on. I think I got it right. Yeah, I was right. Oh, I actually remember his name for once. He's played by Anthony Mackie, and I'm excited to see his portrayal of Falcon. But like, I mean, I don't think
they play bad guys. He's a bad guy, right, Falcon?
No, he's a good guy. He's like Cap's partner, pretty much.
Well, I mean, yeah, you had Don Cheadle doing similar with Iron Man.
Yeah, War Machine.
Or who was the actor before him?
Terrence Howard
was in the first one. Terrence Howard, that's right.
Terrence Howard. But I mean, like, I don't know. I can't get in the mind of somebody. But like,
I'm just like your opinion. Like, it seems to me. There was a rumor going around that the Spider-Man reboot they were going to cast, that they had cast.
Well, okay. Well, there actually is a storyline, I think, where in the comic books going on now, where there's an African-American kid who's Spider-Man. I can't remember, though. Miles Morales? Is that the... Miles Morales Spider-Man. Yeah, right now. So I think that's going on now, where there's a African-American kid playing Spider-Man. So it's not like something that is out of the range of possibility. I mean, we had originally Nick Fury was a white guy, but when they did the Ultimate Universe, they modeled it after Samuel L. Jackson, and now he's playing Nick Fury in the movie, in the movies. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Was your question originally? Do you think? Did you say? Do you think
that maybe there's someone that would be upset about that? Because, like, I mean, you look at the Avengers.
Yeah.
The actual Avengers.
Yes, all of them are white. Well, exactly. I mean, that's why I would love
Superman
to see, that's why I would love to see somebody like Falcon join the Avengers, or somebody like, actually get some racial diversity in there, as opposed to a bunch of white people.
Well,
but
like, I guess this has, like, there were people, I don't know who that listens to this podcast watch the Super Bowl, probably a good deal. But there's a lot of people that were upset about that Coca-Cola commercial. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen any of the commercials from the Super Bowl.
Oh wow,
you
haven't seen any of them?
I was completely detached. Well, I might have seen a couple car commercials. Like Jordan said,
all
they were
large
car commercials.
Yeah, largely disappointing. Like, I didn't think there was a whole lot of them that were good. There was a couple of good ones, but it seemed like there was a huge uproar from the folks, as they're called by some people, the folks. There was a Coke commercial that was America the Beautiful, and it was sung in several different languages, and promoting America's diverse and that kind of thing. And there were people that were upset that, well, if you don't sing it in English, then it's not American, and that kind of thing. And that's, I guess, more or less what kind of got me thinking. And then we were talking about superheroes, and I just kind of noticed, like, to me, I don't know, it's just like, when I am casting, when I'm thinking of roles, and when I'm writing and stuff like that, I for whatever reason, I purposely want to put people that you don't normally see in the limelight.
Yeah.
And I just don't know why that's not more of a normal thing, especially nowadays. You should see that more often. But it's just like, it would disappoint me if I was an African-American actor and I had done a ton of really good movies and I was a big, huge star or whatever, or I was just, people thought that I was good. I could never go out for those roles, or I could, but I mean, what are the realistic chances that you're going to get that role? What are the realistic chances that I get Batman, or that I get Superman, or that I would get, I'm talking about the main upper echelon of, like Captain America or Iron Man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Green Lantern. There's an African American Green Lantern, and he's top tier in the comics.
I'm talking about in real life. Like, you can do anything you want in the comics.
Well, I'm talking about the potential would still be there, because you could still do that adaptation in the movies, which there has been talk before about doing that. So
yeah, but it's talk. Like, I mean, you'd think at this point it would have been done by now.
Well, my favorite superhero, one of my favorite superheroes is Blade, and I absolutely love those movies. To death. And to me, Blade is an upper echelon character who should be in the Avengers, which the Blade, I think, rights have reverted back to Marvel, I believe. So hopefully they do that.
Oh, is Blade a Marvel character?
Blade was the brunt of the Marvel movies. He was that was the first Marvel movie. They had done TV movies and stuff, but that was the first big Marvel movie. And set the trend for X-Men and stuff like that. So,
well, I mean, they couldn't go with Wesley Snipes, but they should do some sort of.
Oh, I want them to bring back Wesley Snipes, though.
Oh, you do?
I would love that. Well, I like
Wesley Snipes from 15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know about the one.
Well, I liked the TV show adaptation. I liked the TV show. Like Blade the series was pretty good. So I mean, it is an interchangeable role, but it's hard for me to see.
No, I mean that would be one I'd actually like to see a reboot of, because I mean, honestly, I wasn't a really big fan of the originals, and I know you are.
Oh, I'm a huge fan.
Stephen Dorff, whatever his name is. Yeah, I was never really a big fan of his.
Oh, I like Stephen Dorff. He's doing those blue e-cig commercials now.
Blue what?
It's hilarious. E-cig, like the electronic cigarettes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's hilarious. He's like, "Take back your freedom. We're all adults here." It's so stupid. Yeah, it's so stupid. But what were you talking about the Coke commercial? You never finished that thought.
No, it's the same sort of thing. Like, this uproar. It's like maybe that has something to do with it, that there's still people that are so entrenched in this thought of, okay, well, Superman has to be white, and Spider-Man has to be white because they were in the comics, or they have been portrayed so many times in the past, by Caucasian actors. Mm-hmm. But I am a guy that I never like talking about like this, because I just feel like there's one race and everybody's human. Bottom line,
yeah,
that's it. End of story. And but in this context, like that's what brought it around to the whole Coke commercial, that there was people so uproarious about, it has to be English, and where's all the white people, and man, look, just your time is gone. Just accept the fact that the country is now a lot more diverse than it used to be.
Yeah.
And live your life.
That's karma, white people.
Yeah. You had your run. You fucked it all up. You're gonna be phased out. And yeah, it's like I love George Carlin.
Yeah.
George Carlin. I don't know if anybody's listened to his stuff that listens to this. They might not be old enough. I don't know, but you gotta listen to George Carlin.
Yeah.
George Carlin's outlook on things. Some of them are a little out there, but some of my basis on things like that I get from him are just pure awesome.
Yeah, some of the stuff he talked about is the most base, sensible stuff in ever, and it's stuff that necessarily you wouldn't have thought about it that way. But when he says it, it's just like, oh yeah, that makes absolute sense. Why aren't things that way? Like, But
That's exactly right.
George Carlin is hilarious. Like I was talking about earlier about how I had started getting into Sam Kinison. I was the same way with George Carlin a couple years ago, where I just started listening to everything George Carlin for a while because the guy was a genius.
Anything we come across, it's like that, or Howard Stern. It's like these people are so alluring that you just can't help but watch the next video and listen to more.
Yeah, you just have to devour everything.
Soak up as much as you can get. Yeah. And it sucks that I've almost, by proxy now, I think I've seen almost every Carlin special because I've seen every clip, pretty much every clip, and I watched them several times now. But
yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a few of those specials just straight through without having seen the videos on YouTube before. But
yeah.
There is the rare occasion I will find one I have not seen, and then I'm like, "Ooh, cool!"
Yeah, yes,
but
sir.
That's that, as they say.
As that is, as they say, is that.
Say.
So
taking it down.
I didn't mention this earlier, but last Philip Seymour Hoffman movie that I watched, and this was like only a couple weeks ago. Liz and I were scrolling through Netflix, and I don't know if have you ever seen Punch Drunk Love? Mm-mm. That's another Paul Thomas Anderson movie. That's the one with Adam Sandler in it. But I had seen that movie, huh?
Adam
Sandler in a not comedy. Well, I mean, it has
in a serious movie.
It has funny-ish moments, but like it's seriously like he's really good at it. Like Adam Sandler is really good at it, and he's kind of like.
I wish he did more serious roles because he's a decent.
That's something Mark Kermode says all the time. Every single time he reviews an Adam Sandler movie, he's like, you can't make Punch Drunk Love and not be a good actor. Like,
yeah,
like it always pains him to see him doing this lowest common denominator movies.
Still, he's almost 50 and he's still doing this gutter humor.
Where he's married to like a 20-year-old or something like that.
Well, he was married to Marissa Tomei in a movie too, wasn't he? She looks like she's 20.
Anger Management, yeah. She was.
That was 10 years ago. I'm sorry, I'm dating myself.
But yes, Anger Management, which is now a series on FX. Anyway. But yeah, we watched Punch Drunk Love because I had seen it a while ago. It's a very strange movie, and it really like it goes different places, and it's really weird. But that
I liked Click.
I still have yet to see Click.
Because it's the typical Sandler movie until it hits a certain point and it gets really serious. Like it was really good. It actually teared me up. Like it was a really good movie. That's one I would say.
That's one of the ones though. Is I watched the trailer and I've seen the movie. Like that was something that the trailer kind of spoils the fact that the clicker gets broken. It starts fast forwarding and he can't stop it. Like
right.
Like that is.
But yeah,
is that?
Yeah, I mean, you're not incorrect. But I think that there's a sizable portion of the movie that the trailer really wouldn't do justice.
Yeah, to. I just remember the part where he paused and beat the shit out of David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, of course they're going to show the stupidest shit that they can show in the trailer.
But yeah, Christopher Walken's in that, right?
Movie. Yeah, I think that's his dad. I think.
Well, isn't he the guy who sells him the clicker? I thought.
No, that's right. I'm thinking. For some reason, I just immediately went to what was he the dad of somebody in Pulp Fiction? Not Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah, Pulp Fiction. He was the father with the watch. Or no, he wasn't the father. He was the guy who brought him the watch.
Yeah, that stuck the watch up the guy's.
Yeah, the Bruce Willis's father.
Yes, that's where I don't know. For some reason that just randomly popped into my head.
But specifically, where he played somebody's father would be like Catch Me If You Can or something like that. He played what's his name's father. Leonardo DiCaprio's father in that.
I saw that recently.
That's a great movie.
Solid ass movie. I like that. I liked just because the best part was the end where he had the chance to get away again. Didn't.
Yeah, like the Spielberg and Hanks and DiCaprio. Like that was such a good movie. But have you ever seen The Terminal?
I still have not seen that movie. I was actually setting up. I think I have it. I don't know how. I was setting up my DVDs. I need to take a picture because I have my DVDs finally set up and my Blu-rays.
Yeah.
And you'll kill me, by the way. I left Batman Begins at the beach somehow. We watched that. I got to go get it. Yeah. So anyway, but for some reason I don't know how I ended up with it, but I still have it on DVD. It's like I only have like maybe 10, 15 DVDs.
Yeah.
And somehow or another, it just keeps following me along, and I've never seen it, but I've got to watch it.
I've traveled so much in the last 2 years of my life that every single time I'm in an airport, I always say to Jordan, I'm like, Jordan, this is reminding me of The Terminal. I want to watch The Terminal because The Terminal gets it so right, like airport terminals. It's insane.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie. It's
Well, I've
just,
been in a few now myself now, so I would probably get a lot more of it.
Yeah,
Than
yeah. Like
beforehand.
the time I watched it, I had never flown in my life, and now that I've flown so many times, I haven't watched it, but I always say I want to watch it. But it's the same thing as Catch Me If You Can, where it's like that's a solid ass movie. Like that's a really good movie.
I want to set something in stone. We talked about a movie off air, wink, wink, that we were going to review for next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to do 2 reviews.
Okay.
The new one, and I want to kind of maybe do the old. We don't have to do that every week, but I want to do an older one next week.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we've done it.
Okay.
I was at Walmart buying something. I can't remember what it was. I went to get something. Printer. I went to get a printer. And I was in electronics, and I got the printer, and I got my USB cord, and I'm going by, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a 2-pack DVD, and I'm like, oh, crap, why did I have to see this? So immediately, without any thought or anything, my eyesight remained forward. I just grab it off the shelf, put it in the cart, and continue on.
Yeah.
But because apparently I've owned this film, these films, in the past, but I don't know what I've done with them. I don't know where they ended up. Don't have them, but they're one of my favorite 2 movies of all time.
Okay.
They are Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we've reviewed that.
No. I remember last year I did a thing where I was watching because I had never seen Pulp Fiction or what's it called? His first one.
Jackie Brown.
No, I hadn't seen Jackie Brown, but I hadn't seen Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown.
That is a deviously good movie.
I watched. I showed it to you. I remember
we watched it together.
Yeah, I had seen it, and I was like, Thomas,
That's
you
such
need
a
to
funny,
watch
good
this.
movie, yeah.
But that was a really good movie. But yeah, Jackie Brown. What was the first one he did though? The one with the guys, the robbery.
Machete.
No.
Damn it!
What the fuck?
Reservoir Dogs.
Yes, Reservoir. Okay, so I was watching them in order, and I watched Reservoir Dogs. Didn't we watch that together as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe what we should do is but that's what I remember. We watched Reservoir Dogs. We watched Jackie Brown. Maybe we should watch Pulp Fiction together because we haven't. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah. Well, the thing was that I was just going through his catalog in order, and
and
I kind of stopped at the first Kill Bill. I watched the first Kill Bill, but I didn't get to the second, and I kind of stopped because I ran out of time of watching stuff. But so what are you proposing here?
Well, at some point we should do maybe not all of this obviously next week, but we could do Pulp Fiction, the Kill Bill movies, and then Inglourious Bastards, and because it went from Kill Bill to Inglourious Bastards, right? There was nothing in between that I can remember that he did because he had only done Kill Bill 2. I think was his 5th movie.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. And then Inglourious Bastards, and then the Jamie Foxx, I haven't seen yet.
You haven't seen Django Unchained?
No. So that's what I'm saying. We should go through.
How have you not seen Django Unchained?
I haven't seen it yet.
That was.
I believe me, and I for some reason
saw that opening day, Christmas Day.
I have not seen that movie yet. I was watching YouTube videos randomly one day, and I saw a Christoph Waltz video that I didn't watch, but ever since then I've been like, I want to watch Inglourious Bastards because he's fantastic in it. But we should watch the last 5 Tarantino movies that we haven't watched together.
Okay, so
we don't have to watch them together, but we could watch them at some point.
Okay, well, I think if you're available tomorrow, I'd actually might be able to watch Pulp Fiction with you.
I can't. So tomorrow I'm running a poker game at
that movie's
the local pub.
154 minutes long. That's pretty long.
What is
Pulp Fiction?
Oh wow, yeah, that's a long movie.
That's almost that's like 2.5 hours.
2.5. 2 hours 34 minutes run time. Well, I'm sure Django's a long movie. Kill Bill 2, I think, is like 2 hours and 40 minutes or close to it.
Django's like 2:45 or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll figure.
But I always thought the story of the bride was just like it's one of the classic, awesome stories of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's
But okay, anyway, well, actually, no. This is something I had determined when watching his movies in a row, because like you had said, because you liked those movies so much, and you're the one who shared those movies with me originally, the Kill Bill movies. Those were the first Tarantino movies I had ever seen. And then after that, you and I went and saw Inglourious Basterds in the theaters, and I loved that as well. But going back and watching them in order, from Reservoir Dogs to Pulp Fiction to Jackie Brown, I feel like those three movies are superior to Kill Bill, and because I watched Kill Bill after that, I'm like, this isn't as strong as those other films.
I can see where you're going, where you come from. I think, excuse me, Reservoir Dogs is really good. Jackie Brown surprised me on how good that was.
Yeah, I mean, that was
like, I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't, I didn't, for some reason. I don't know. I really didn't feel like I was going to enjoy it as much as I did.
I was the exact same way. When I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm just watching them in order. That's why I'm watching this. But it was the one that I had the predisposition.
For some reason, right? I thought it was like going to be this antiquated superhero, like ass kicking. Wow,
that's what I always thought it was.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I thought it was like,
Foxy
Jackie Brown
homage disco thing.
Exactly.
And there are parts of it that are kind of a 70s homage and have a 70s feel.
But it was a contemporary movie at the time. Like, it was a modern movie.
Excellent movie, and it was very well done, very realistic. I remember that little office that the PI was in, or anything. It just reminded me of them, like in Law and Order. They're not using sets.
Yeah,
I mean, they're out in the streets of New York and stuff. So, excellent movie. And so yeah, I would. We'll have to figure something out.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will.
Yeah. But what were we? Do you want to set in stone what we're doing for next week?
What do you want to do next?
I'm good. I'm good with what we discussed.
Okay, so next week we'll be reviewing.
We're gonna take it in a different direction. We usually talk about, Dark Knight Rises and these serious movies and R and that kind of thing. This is going to be unique for us. I don't think we've ever really delved into these types of movies.
A kids movie
in a solid review. Yeah, we haven't done like a Toy Story or a that kind of Up. We should do Up at some point.
Oh, that's such an excellent movie. Anyway,
that is one of the best movies ever.
So okay, we're going to be reviewing the Lego Movie. Yay! Because I'm gonna have by the time we review it, probably seen it twice. Because we're gonna do a movie night on it with the creatures, and then I'm gonna go see it with Liz as well. So I'm very excited for it. So hopefully it lives up to expectation.
I really don't have any. I'm gonna go to
just because I said go see it.
Time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we're gonna review it, but my expectation in going into it is just going to be a nice, easy, no pressure movie.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try to enjoy it for what it is, and I'm sure I will.
And Morgan Freeman's in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I did know that because I've seen the preview a couple of times. That's right.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman's in it, so you can't go wrong.
He plays himself, basically.
Yeah, he
usually does.
He's like a god or something like that. I don't know. He's like an old wizard or something like that, like omnipotent kind of guy.
He's had plenty of experience playing our Lord,
our Lord and Savior.
Our Lord,
no, that would be Jesus, but
that would be right. Okay,
our deity of choice.
Our deity of choice.
I'm God.
Good way to.
Anyway, so is that about it? You think?
Yeah. We're about done. For those of you that have made it to this point, I want to make one little shameless plug because I had a very minute. I don't even think it got into the finished to the second finished product. Very minute part in a locally produced film here in North Carolina that got bought up by an independent film company. They repackaged it. It's on sale now. It's called Remnants.
Wait, that's actually on sale?
And it's one of the top sellers in whatever field it's in, action, sci-fi, or something. It was legit top 3 in its field last week when it first came out. They didn't have enough copies. They had to reorder a new batch or something. Like, because I saw somebody talking about it, I was like, oh, it's probably a setting or something, or it's they skewed it or something. And then I went and looked at it, and it was literally the number 3 best-selling DVD at that time. And it's a movie made, I think, probably more for DVD than a theater. But we talked about Tom Sizemore. He's in it.
I just Amazoned it and looked at it, and when did Tom Sizemore get picked up for that?
What they did was I am literally right now looking at the finished film that was done here in North Carolina.
Yeah,
the company bought it, and they took probably, I think, an hour or 45 minutes from what I've been told. I still haven't seen the new one. But they took an hour or 45 minutes, or most, a large portion of what they shot, re-edited it, and then they reshot new scenes, because the film is about an astrological event that knocks out the power.
Okay.
And
well, I remember, you and I were both on set when they were filming one of the days.
Yes, we actually were invited to the set, and we watched them film
and
for
talked
a day.
to the director and
talked to all the because we've worked, Jeff Briggs and Jody Vines, people we've worked with were in the film as well.
Yes,
and so yeah, it's about this local. The original film was all about this local community and how they were dealing with it, and the little infighting they had, and surviving, and that kind of thing. And so they took it, they bought it, and they wanted to add the governmental approach to what's the military doing to combat it, and all that kind of stuff, to make it, I guess, in their eyes, a little bit more commercial.
Yeah, the most they had before, there was like a FEMA truck that was sitting in one of the scenes.
Right. That was what we saw too. That was
they were filming that day. Yeah,
we saw that they shot. So this company bought it up. They reshot several scenes with Tom Sizemore, a couple other actors you might have heard of. I'm not sure. I didn't recognize one of them.
Robert Pralgo and Wilbur Fitzgerald sounds familiar.
His name does, but I don't remember seeing him in much. It's probably.
Oh, I don't know who the hell that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So anyway, I haven't seen it, but I would recommend it based on what the local scenes that are shot. I actually, in the original, I played a radio voice for about 5 seconds, so I'm pretty sure that didn't make the the re-release. But it is in. You can't tell it's me. They sort of volumized it and all that, and audio corrected.
Yeah.
But
I actually meant to ask you about that more recently, about what happened to it, because I remember it was kind of not in limbo, but I remember a while ago tweeting out the trailer for it once they put it out. You know, and
it was just they had cut the film, and they were looking to sell it, and they found a company that basically bought all the rights to it, and could do basically whatever they wanted to do with it, and they decided to reshoot, which is, you might not think, but it's actually a credit to how well they produced it originally, because they could have just bought the rights to it and said we're going to repackage it and do it our own.
Yeah.
But they actually used a large portion of what they shot. They just re-edited, re-corrected, and there's parts of the original that were really bad. Like, they're not the acting or the scene shots, but there are transitional scenes that were just terrible. Like, you couldn't sell that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they fixed those up and that kind of thing. But
I'm watching the trailer for it right now, the re-release trailer, and I'm recognizing some of these people. It's weird.
Oh, like Jeff and Jody? And...
there's a guy walking away from a helicopter who looks pretty familiar. I think he might have... Did he? I don't know. It looks like it's somebody who either read for Desperate Measures, or maybe I just saw at some point, but yeah.
Well, if it's walking away from helicopter... I don't know that they had a helicopter on the original. So
maybe it was just an actor that I recognize in general.
Yeah.
There's Jeff.
But, yeah.
That was the shot. I remember that. Okay, yeah. Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yes. So I would. It's on Amazon. It's called Remnants.
It ships within the next 1 to 2 months.
What's that?
If you order it, it says usually ships within 1 to 2 months.
That can't be right.
That's what it says on Amazon.
Well, maybe they're out of stock. I don't know.
Yeah. 2 new from $8.75.
I was shocked when I saw how well it was doing, but it's probably a good little movie, and shot here locally, and I had an extremely small, little tiny role that probably isn't even in that edit of the film. So, but anyway, and the thing is too, like, the story is actually pretty original, but now it's not so much original because there's been a lot of stuff that's come out since. They started the production on this in 2008.
Oh yeah, a long ass time ago.
It's been 6 years, so believe me, when they started it, it was quite the thing. It was a unique story. And now there's Revolution, and there's all these other stories out there. So,
yep,
whatevs. But that's all I've got for you, sir.
That was. I'm glad you brought that up, because that was something I was,
cheap plug.
Yes,
little tiny plug at the end.
But yeah, I'm actually going to order that right now.
Oh, nice.
There's only one left in stock from the seller that actually has fast shipping. If you order through specifically Amazon, like Prime or whatever, they have crazy long shipping for some reason. But the other seller said fast shipping smiley face, so I'm gonna order it. And
yeah, I'm not really an expert on Amazon anyway. I don't really know how that whole thing works with the resellers and the different distributors.
Yeah. Well, it's only $12 on Amazon, so if you want to watch it in the next couple of months, order it now.
You may get it by April.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Tom.
That's the show. We're gonna wrap it a little earlier than usual.
A little bit. 20
we really
minutes.
didn't because it's only like 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes earlier than usual. But we'll talk to you guys later and see you next week with our review of the Lego Movie. Bye.
Bye.